King Ælla thought he'd won. He'd just executed the most dangerous Viking who ever lived. Ragnar Lothbrok was dead. The raids would stop. England was safe. He had no idea. He'd just started a war that would nearly erase his entire country from existence. This is the story of the Great Heathen Army. 3,000 Vikings, 4 brothers, and one mission that changed England forever. But here's what nobody tells you about this invasion. It almost worked. Let me take you back to the moment it all began. The year is 865 AD. Ragnar Lothbrok stands in a pit, not just any pit, a pit filled with venomous snakes, dozens of them coiling around his legs, his arms, his neck. Above him, King Ælla of Northumbria, watching, smiling. This was Ælla's revenge. Ragnar had raided his kingdom for years, burned his villages, humiliated his armies. So when Ælla finally captured him, he wanted Ragnar to die slowly, painfully, publicly. And for a moment, it looked like Ælla had won. But as Ragnar felt the venom spreading through his body, as his vision started to blur, he didn't scream, he didn't beg. According to the chronicles, he laughed, then he sang, an old Norse song about his victories, his conquests, his glory. And then he said something that should have terrified Ælla. How the little pigs would grunt if they knew how the old boar suffers. Ælla didn't understand what that meant. He thought it was the ramblings of a dying man. But Ragnar wasn't talking to Ælla. He was talking to his sons, the little pigs, and they were about to do something unprecedented. News of Ragnar's death reached Scandinavia within weeks. His sons, Ivar, Bjorn, Halfdan, Ubba, received the message at different times, in different places, but their reactions, identical. Not grief, not tears, pure rage. Now here's where this story gets interesting. Most Viking sons would have gathered a small warband and raided Northumbria for revenge. Quick, brutal, simple. But Ivar the Boneless, he wasn't most Vikings. He had a different plan. A plan so ambitious, so insane that when he told his brothers, they thought he'd lost his mind. Ivar didn't want to raid Northumbria. He wanted to conquer all of England, every kingdom, every city, every inch of land. He wanted the entire country to kneel, and he knew exactly how to do it. But he needed an army, not just any army, the largest Viking force ever assembled. So the brothers sent word across Scandinavia, Denmark, Norway, Sweden. The message was simple. Ragnar Lothbrok is dead. Join us. We're going to make England pay. And something unexpected happened. They came, hundreds of them, then thousands, chieftains who'd been enemies for decades, fighting side by side, raiders who'd never left their home fjords, sailing to war, young warriors who'd never seen battle, ready to die for glory. By the summer of 865 AD, they had 3,000 men, the Great Heathen Army, and England had no idea what was coming. Now imagine you're an Anglo-Saxon farmer in East Anglia. It's autumn 865 AD. You're harvesting your crops. Your family's preparing for winter. Life is normal. Then you see it on the horizon. Hundreds of long ships. So many you can't count them.
The ships don't stop at the shore. They don't raid the coastal villages and leave like Vikings usually do. They land. They unload. Thousands of warriors, horses, supplies, weapons. They are not here to raid, they're here to stay. The local king, Edmund of East Anglia, tries to negotiate. He offers gold, silver, anything to make them leave. The Vikings take the gold and stay anyway, because money was never the point. Edmund panics, sends messengers to the other kingdoms. The Vikings are here, we need help. But help doesn't come, not fast enough. And this is where the Great Heathen Army reveals their first secret weapon, something the Anglo-Saxons had never encountered before. The Vikings don't just attack randomly. They're organized, disciplined. They move in shield wall formations, overlapping shields, synchronized movements, Roman-style tactics. The Anglo-Saxon armies, yes, they fight like individual warriors, brave, true, but disorganized. The first major battle happens near Thetford. King Edmund assembles his entire army, every able-bodied man in East Anglia. It's the largest force he can muster. He's confident. His men outnumber the Vikings in this region. He thinks he can win. He's wrong. The Great Heathen Army doesn't charge wildly. They advance slowly, methodically. Their shield wall is impenetrable, every step coordinated, every movement calculated. The Anglo-Saxons crash against it like waves against a cliff, and the Viking wall doesn't break. Then something happens that changes the battle completely. The Viking archers step forward, not random shots, volleys, synchronized waves of arrows. The Anglo-Saxon lines collapse, men fall, panic spreads, and that's when the shield wall opens and the Vikings pour through. King Edmund's army breaks, they run, and the Vikings chase them down. Within hours, East Anglia has fallen. King Edmund tries to flee, but he's captured. The brothers give him one choice: renounce Christianity, acknowledge Norse gods, and live as their puppet king. Edmund refuses. He's executed. The first English kingdom is gone, but the Great Heathen Army isn't celebrating. They're already planning their next move. And this is where they reveal their second secret weapon, one that makes them almost impossible to defeat: winter. You see, Anglo-Saxon armies operate on a schedule. When autumn ends and winter begins, soldiers return home. It's tradition, it's honor, it's how warfare works in Christian England. Armies disband until spring. But the Great Heathen Army, they don't go home, they stay. They fortify East Anglia, build camps, stockpile supplies, and while the other English kingdoms assume they're safe until spring, the Vikings prepare to attack. December 865 AD, the Kingdom of Northumbria. Snow is falling. Most of the soldiers have returned to their families for the winter. The city of York, Northumbria's capital, is defended by a skeleton crew, maybe a few hundred men. It should be safe. Vikings don't attack in winter, right? Wrong. On a freezing December night, the Great Heathen Army appears outside York's walls. No warning, no declaration of war. Just 3,000 warriors in the middle of winter. The defenders panic, send riders to recall the army, but it's too late. The Vikings don't lay siege, they don't wait, they attack immediately. Ladders against the walls, battering rams at the gates. The defenders fight desperately, but they're outnumbered 6-1. By dawn, York has fallen. The second largest city in England, taken in a single night. And this is where King Ælla makes his biggest mistake. When he hears that York has fallen, he's furious. He immediately recalls his army, marches toward York in the middle of winter. He wants his city back, and he wants revenge for the humiliation. But he's walking into a trap. The Vikings have had weeks to prepare. They've fortified York's walls, set up defenses, positioned archers. When Ælla's army arrives, exhausted from marching through winter snow, they find the Vikings waiting for them. Ælla orders the attack anyway. His men are tired, cold, demoralized. But they charge, and the Great Heathen Army destroys them. Ælla's forces break within hours. His soldiers flee, and Ælla himself, he's captured alive. Now the brothers have a decision to make. They could ransom him. They could make him a puppet king like they planned with Edmund. But Ælla killed their father, threw him into a pit of snakes, made him suffer. So they decide Ælla's death needs to send a message.
The historical records don't give us all the details, but what we know is this. Ælla's execution was brutal, public, and designed to terrify every other English king into submission. Some chronicles suggest the blood eagle, a ritual execution where the ribs are severed from the spine and the lungs pulled out to resemble wings. Whether that actually happened, historians debate it, but what's undeniable is this. After Ælla's death, the other English kingdoms were terrified. 2 kingdoms down, 2 to go. The Great Heathen Army turns south. Target, Mercia, the largest, wealthiest kingdom in England. If Mercia falls, England is finished. The Mercian king, Burgred, knows he can't beat the Vikings in open battle, so he tries something different. He pays them, offers a massive tribute of silver, enough wealth to make every Viking rich. Surely they'll take the money and leave, right? The Vikings take the money, and they stay. Because this was never about wealth, it was about conquest, about making England kneel, about avenging Ragnar. Burgred realizes his mistake too late. He tries to fight, but his army is crushed. He flees to Rome. Mercia falls. The Vikings install a puppet king, an Englishman willing to obey Norse commands. And just like that, 3 of England's 4 kingdoms are gone. East Anglia, conquered. Northumbria, conquered. Mercia, conquered. Only 1 kingdom remains, Wessex, the smallest, the weakest, the last. And this is where the story takes an unexpected turn, because Wessex has something the other kingdoms didn't. A king named Alfred, young, inexperienced, but brilliant. When the Great Heathen Army invades Wessex in 871 AD, everyone expects it to fall quickly. Alfred's army is tiny compared to the Viking force. But Alfred doesn't fight the way other English kings did. He studies the Vikings, learns their tactics, and he does something unprecedented. He adapts. Instead of meeting them in open battle, he uses guerrilla warfare, hit-and-run attacks, ambushes. He hides his army in marshlands where the Vikings can't find them. And slowly, he starts winning small victories. Not enough to drive the Vikings out, but enough to frustrate them, to slow them down. The Great Heathen Army has never encountered resistance like this, and for the first time, they're forced to negotiate. In 878 AD, Alfred and the Viking leaders sign a treaty. The Vikings keep everything they've conquered, more than half of England. The region becomes known as the Danelaw, Viking laws, Viking customs, Viking rule. But Wessex remains independent. Alfred gets to keep his kingdom, and England survives, barely. Now here's what most people don't realize about the Great Heathen Army.
They didn't just conquer England and leave, they stayed for generations. They built towns, raised families, established an entire Norse culture in the heart of England. Cities like York became Viking strongholds. English villages adopted Norse names. The English language absorbed hundreds of Viking words, words we still use today. The Great Heathen Army didn't just change England politically, they changed it culturally, genetically, permanently. DNA studies show that millions of people in northern England today have Viking ancestry. The legacy of those 3,000 warriors is still here. So what happened to Ragnar's sons? Ivar the Boneless became the king of Dublin, ruled until his death in 873 AD. Bjorn Ironside returned to Scandinavia, became a legendary king of Sweden. Halfdan became the king of Northumbria, ruling the land they conquered. Ubba was killed in battle in 878 AD, still fighting the English.
They never saw their homeland again, but they did what they set out to do. They made England pay for their father's death. They built an empire. They changed history. All because one English king thought killing Ragnar Lothbrok would end the Viking threat. Instead, it started the largest invasion England had ever seen. And by the time the English realized their mistake, 3 kingdoms were already gone. That's the story of the Great Heathen Army. 3,000 Vikings, 4 brothers, 1 mission. And England was never the same. If you made it this far, you're part of the 1%. Drop a comment if you want more untold Viking stories like this, and subscribe, because what's coming next is even crazier.